What's going on, YouTubers? This is Zen from Zen World, and I hope you're having a great day. So, often you come across a really good book or comic book or manga, and you're just like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So my friend, shout out to Steven, introduced me to a new manga that just came out recently named Mashle. And Mashle is about the combination of both, not the combination, but um, just kind of the differences between magic and muscle, right? And if you're thinking about like magic, yeah, like magic, like spells, things of that nature, like doing spells. I know it kind of looks like I'm doing gang signs, but and muscle, the anatomy of the muscle, and how one can achieve greatness or some level of strength through the acquisition of training the muscles, right? So we're introduced to this character named Mash, right? So we see him training in the woods, and he's training like crazy. He's bench pressing like a ton of weight, right? And what's happening is everyone in this village or in this world has some kind of inclination or um, just like ability to use some type of magic, but lo and behold, Mash he does not have any ability to use magic in itself. So he's been taken care of by his I want to say his foster father at this time, since he was little. And what happens is his foster father basically tells him that you can't go out to the city, and you have to stay here and train. And Mash, he's a really good kid, right? He's I would say he's about 15, 16, 17. I'm not too sure about the age itself, but he does what he does. But he's kind of for lack of better words, he's not naive, but let's go with naive, right? So one of the first things that he does is he opens up the door and he rips the door open, right? Because he's really strong. It's not like he's just training. His body is just very adept to muscular endurance and muscular strength, right? So he pulls open the door, and then his stepdad is like, "What are you doing?" And he's just like, "Oh, I wasn't too sure if I was supposed to push or pull." And then you kind of go through this silly kind of dialogue between the two, but then later, lo and behold, Mash decides to go into town to get this kind of basically this cream puff. I think it's like a goblin cream puff, and he goes there and he sees different things, and the police, I want to say the police bureau, right? It's not actually a police, but they are notified that there is an individual within the city that does not bear a mark, right? And the mark means that you're a magic wielder, right? So basically, there's this like cop who goes after him, and then he's like, "You don't have a mark, da 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 da." And then Bash is like, "You want a piece of my cream puff?" Because he's not looking for a fight, right? Bash is not looking for a fight. He's just looking for his time in the city to get what he needs, and then he goes back home, and that's it, right? Nothing else, right? And the cop is basically saying, you're trying to like belittle me, things of that nature. So Bash just kind of like rips his shirt off, right? And his entirety of his clothes, like, and then he's like, "What?" So basically what happens is his father dashes past and then like grabs him up and then brings him back home as fast as possible. And then he's like, "Bash, why did you go into the city? I told you not to go." And then Bash is like, "I'm really sorry, I won't do it again," right? He said, "Actually, I have a cream buff for you." So he's really simple, he's very, very kind, but he's exploratory, right? Just like any other kid who wants to know about the world around him. So what happens next is that the police bureau, I'm saying police bureau, but that's not what they're called, but I'm just gonna say that for now, until I can actually get the words down packed, right, and the terminology. So they come, and they're basically, what happens is Mash's foster father basically says, "Go train as your punishment," right? So he goes trains, and you see him doing like these squats like with a ridiculous amount of weight, right? And during that time, the police bureau comes in, and they're talking to the foster father, basically, the guardian of Mash, and they're like, "Where's the kid? I know you have him here," and he's denied everything. He's saying like, "You'll never get him," things of that nature. And then Mash comes in close by, and he's listening in about how he's not able to use magic and things of that nature. Then we get this little prelude, this backstory on Mashle's guardian, which is the foster father, and they show the scene when he's younger and he finds Mash, and he's basically like, "You're just like me." And I think he's not exactly like him in terms of using magic. Like, the foster father can use magic, but he grew up not being, I guess, being worthy to his family lineage, right? So when he picked up Mash, he said, "I'll take care of you just like me," because he doesn't know how to use magic either. Mash doesn't know how to use magic, but basically the similarities are that they were both supposed to not become anything, right? Because of the lack of abilities in one and the no abilities in another. So Mash busts in. He busts in with his like super strength, and then he looks at basically the cops and the chief at the time, and he's basically like, "Let him go before I like destroy all of you." And then they're like, "What? Like, you're a kid, you have no magic, blah blah blah." And then what happens next is they start doing all these spells, right? The chief at the time, I forgot his name. I'm saying chief, and I'm using just kind of like these human terms, like chief and police, but they're not police. They're like detectives of like the magic world or something like that. And he's doing all these spells, and then the subordinates are deciding like, "Oh, he's about to do that spell that he did on this dragon in this last mission." Da, 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 da. So he does the spell on Mash, and Mash just knocks it away, right? He knocks it away, and he knocks away another spell after that, after spell. So Mash is like, he's like, just leave. Basically he's just like, just leave. So at the end, this kind of comes into the simplicity of it. The manga is not really hard to read at all. It's very simple. It's very unique. It's funny at times, and it's just like, I kind of want to see what happens next, because then the chief is like, "I'll leave you alone," even though Mash could have done anything he wanted, but he's like, "I'll leave you alone, but you have to prove that since you want to be in this world, you have to prove to everyone that you can live in this world without being persecuted, right?" So he says, "I want you to go into magic school and show what you got," basically. So Mash is like, "Okay," with the simplest face, like, "Okay, I'll do it." And then his foster father is like, "What are you doing? You can't just decide this without." He's like, "No, I'm gonna prove to everyone that if I can't use magic, then I'm gonna use my fist to destroy everything," basically. When he says not destroy everything, he didn't say that verbatim, but he basically said like, "I'll take down this world with my brute strength, right, and my muscles." He's basically saying that he doesn't need magic to survive in this world. He has his body and everything he's produced over time and will produce over time to succeed, right? So it's a really amazing, simple read manga that I really enjoyed, and I'm grateful that I was able to read it. I think volume 2 comes out February 4th, which would be this Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to reading it and doing another rundown story on it. As you can see, I only use like one picture in this whole entirety of the video, and the reason being is because copyright. I don't want to get copyrighted and things like that. I already had one strike, so I don't want to go through that process again of waiting like 3 months or something of the nature to get the strike removed. But I kind of am enjoying this kind of like story recaps, right? I was a little bit all over the place. I missed some terminology and some names, but for the most part, go out and read it. If you're it's not like a regular shonen manga, but you could just look up Mashle, Muscles and Magic, which is the first volume, and just enjoy it and see how you like it, and then comment in the section below. Anyway, this is Zen from Zen World. Give me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to know when my videos are dropping. I usually drop them once every other day, and then right before 9 o'clock, right? It'll be from 7 all the way till 9, so you'll see a drop between that time depending on the length of the video and how much editing I'm doing. All right, everyone, take care. Peace. Muscles.